Hi everyone, I wanted to make a video going over the Quiz 4 from Math 1512 at University of New Mexico, Fall 2022. So the problem on both of the exams, number one, was to differentiate some function g of x. On Tuesday, they had the function x to the fourth times tangent of 3x. So to find g prime of x, we see that we have a product of two functions, and then in tangent, we're going to have to use chain rule here. So we got the product. We could say this is like our f of x, this is our h of x, and then we're going to have, it's going to equal f prime of x. Let me go back. F prime of x times h of x plus f of x, h prime of x. So we can use the power rule and see that our x prime of x should be 4x cubed. H of x was tangent of 3x. And then plus our x to the fourth times the derivative of tangent, which is secant squared of that 3x times the derivative of the inside, which was 3. So we would get 3x to the fourth, 3 times x to the fourth, 3x to the fourth times secant squared of 3x. So this should be our answer for the Tuesday quiz. So for the Thursday quiz, follow a similar procedure, except now our f prime of x is going to be the derivative of x cubed, which is 3x squared times secant of 2x plus x cubed times derivative of secant, which is secant of 2x times tangent of 2x. So you want to make sure that you still have that 2x in the argument for both, and then times the derivative of the inside, which is 2. So then for Thursday, we should get this g prime of x, which is 3x squared times secant of 2x plus 2x cubed times secant of 2x times tangent of 2x. So this comes from applying the product rule, because we got the product of two functions, and the chain rule for the trig function. So on to problem 2. So this gives us another function that we have to differentiate, which was on both of the quizzes was the same function. So our f prime is going to be the derivative of that function, which one is a constant, so the derivative of that is 0, plus the derivative of the next one, that's p over r, which we could bring the r to the numerator and do the product or the power rule and get p over r squared. And then for this part, we got to be really careful. Q over 4 is our constant, and then that's times r to the negative 2. We don't want to bring the constant up to the numerator though. So then we want to do the derivative of that, which will give us negative 2q over 4r cubed. Well, we could cancel the 2 with 2 and the 4, and then we're given q over 2r cubed. And that was the answer for both quizzes. And then the last problem, which was the same on both quizzes, was given some function s of t. We want to find, first a says find the velocity. So this is our function. We know a, b, and d are all constants. So we could do derivative of the inside. So we got s prime of derivative of cosine, which would be negative a times sine of bt plus d. Now then, derivative of the inside is just b. So we get s prime of t equals negative a b sine of bt plus d. So when is it 0? So first off, we needed to know in part A that s prime of t equals the velocity. So now we need to set s prime of t equal to 0, which is negative a b sine of bt plus d. from this we can see that if b is 0, then that is true, but if b was 0 for the first one, our constant would then be 0 for all time. And our equation would be 0, would be a constant, would then be the velocity would be 0 for all time. So we're going to ignore solutions where a equals 0 or b equals 0. So those aren't very interesting. We want to know basically when the sine function is 0. So sine of x in general is going to be 0 when x is equal to n pi, so any integer value times pi. So in this case, the x that we care about is this whole part here, this bt plus d. So we said bt plus d equal to n pi, and then we solve for time. So then this gives us n pi minus d all over b. And then this is true for n equals 1, 2, 3, and so on. There's kind of the caveat that this requires that n pi minus d always be positive, or b to be negative too, to make sure that the solution is always positive. So we're just kind of assuming there that it is. So because we're told at the beginning that t is greater or equal to 0, so we're just kind of assuming this and then giving those solutions. So that's all for the quiz. Have a good one.